Right, so I'm going to try not to do as many live videos now that I understand a little bit more about what I'm dealing with. And I need some people to maybe just try to help me research some stuff. It's very important. I have a deadline for the DA to try to put a bigger case together so I can put some people in jail that have been terrorizing me. One almost 3 years, that's Wilbur Witt Jr., and then the other one, Toby Hewitt. Wilbur Witt Jr. goes by the name The Butcher as well, Bill the Butcher. But there's also Toby Hewitt, Huitt. And I have the information on my Facebook. And then another one by the name of Russell Rothwell, Rothwell. The other names that are linked, we believe, to what is like a cultish type. You could almost say, it's kind of hard to explain, but there are people sending me messages that have every reason to believe that I am being targeted by a satanic type of ritual cult thing. And if you knew my story more, it would make sense. I don't know if the name couch trolls means anything to y'all, but I was terrorized by them that involved Toby Hewitt, Huitt again. Not hearsay, she was definitely linked to the couch trolls. And it was the most terrifying thing I'd ever been through. They were coming at me in the thousands a day and harassing me and threatening me in the thousands. And it was so bad that I had to meet with a detective in Houston, of course, hence why I'm suing. They didn't do anything. Meanwhile, my life, we've had to move about 7 times over this, and feeling like we're going to move again. Here's where I need someone that's really smart to try to help me figure this out. There has to be a connection with these people. They are relentlessly trying to destroy my life, to destroy my case. They are slandering me. They are calling even the police departments and trying to get false charges on me. Toby's been doing this now for, I don't know, like 8 months now. I know for a fact. I mean, police would come to me and tell me some lady called from Sacramento, California. Now they've been bold enough to say, yeah, her name's Toby. And so this has been a nightmare. They post my address public when I'm definitely in danger and been very vocal about it. They have it on YouTube. They have it on Google. And so the other person that we need to figure out how, there's 2 journalists that seem very evil, very wicked, that are doing everything to destroy me. The other man is Robert Beatty. Anyone can look up journalist Robert Beatty. Anyone can look up Wilbur Witt, who's a journalist as well, and goes by Bill the Butcher. There is definitely an association to these people. They are helping each other terrorize me. They are admitting, Wilbur Witt did a very incriminating video. He says word for word, I'm gonna call the radio station, and if I can't get in, I got my people that will, he said something like that. We recorded it, and I'm gonna be taking it to the DA's office and the FBI. Here's what I know. I have every reason to believe that Wilbur is involved with some kind of I don't know how to put it, but I have every reason to believe that, based on things he told me that had me so scared that I was afraid to even go back and deal with him ever again, who conveniently got away with stealing over $250,000 worth of my belongings. And he's real good at what he does, because I wasn't going to go back without Stephen, but Stephen was working, and he made it impossible for me to get my stuff back. And he did, scary things to me that and said really weird things, that like he showers with, a young girl, and that he was in love with a young girl, and that he had sexual desires for a young girl. And I've told him over and over, I'll do a lie detector test. Will you? He has completely not agreed to go to the police department, where they said, tell him come on in if he wants. I'm challenging Wilbur Witt that you go in there, and I'll tell him what questions I want you asked. You're coming on my radio show playing innocent when it is so obvious you were behind those people terrorizing me. You played, you even said they'll come in after me. You played the little helpless old man when I knew the truth about you, and so do many others. And Wilbur, you're forgetting that you talk to people You're forgetting that you talked people in defense of me and even admitted that you had a crush on me. And this was like 9 years ago, whatever. And then you completely turned on me after you admitted that it was about my CPS case and that the very person that stole my daughter was contacting you and my web designer, and conveniently $8,000 worth of my work got shut down and somehow you own it now. Give me a break. I'm serious, Wilbur. I'm going to get you on felony charges today if you don't cough up all my evidence. Not only am I going to press a new felony charge on you, because I already have one, but I'm going to get you for, it's called, they told me I can title it as cyber terrorism. And I'm now working on proving that it's cultish related. And when I say cultish, don't get me wrong. I don't have absolute proof of it. But I've had enough phone calls and enough concerned people that they believe that Robert, Toby Hewitt, and Wilbur and Russell Bothwell, I'm not saying they're completely working together, but they are definitely helping each other terrorize me. If you don't believe me, just look up Robert Beatty versus Amy Sharon on Google, CHARRRON, and you'll see where Wilbur and him are together trying to destroy me. But then even on the so-called defense of their actions, these people are using the same names that terrorized me in my past and threatened me. Even Jane Doe, the name Jane Doe, she had threatened my life. This is very much seeming like some kind of cultish. And if you saw what these people look like, not to be rude or disrespectful, it's one thing to just be unattractive. It's another thing to just look evil. And I'm telling you that if you look close at the eyes, which I'm good at reading eyes, Toby and Wilbur, in my opinion, have the most evil eyes. Toby more so than Wilbur, but both very evil looking. And when I can't sleep at night because whoever put that looking body bag on a rope out there or cord, whatever, and the police still don't even want to open it, they're too scared to even open it, or they got to get a different unit to open it up. I take all this seriously because that in itself is cultish. Now I got a neighbor that came over yesterday that I filmed, and he said ever since he tried to help us with rides that he's being terrorized and that he's been robbed and he had to change his phone number. Then they stole his phone. I said, welcome to my world. My phone gets stolen like every couple months for years and years. And not once has the police ever arrested anyone, even when I knew who did it. See, when you live in my world, you got to put the pieces together. Why does no one ever go to jail? I mean, hell, they tried to put me in jail over $1 pair of glasses that ended up being a mistake because they didn't realize that I already had glasses on when I came in the store. And you know what I mean? And they were $1. It was so ridiculous. And 4 officers came charging at me in their cars over $1 glasses. But then they don't do anything over $250 worth of theft. Another person over $250,000. And I use $250,000 because I don't know, except that I know at least $250,000. You know what I'm saying? Probably in one case way more than $250,000. So it's very interesting. I'm going to give you this name too. Rowena Freeman, who went by Rowena Young Flesh, who also went by McGowan. And she has an FBI number and a felony case from Maine, I believe. And if you don't believe me, you can look it up. Plus, I'm going to post it. Now, here's what's interesting. She was the #1 CPS witness on why I lost my daughter. She committed 90% perjury. And here is a woman with a felony taking down my case with a felony. Now, here's where it gets even weirder. 7-8 years later, she talks to 2 attorneys, admits the whole thing was wrong, that she was forced to lie under oath and all this stuff, and that she's scared, and that she's going to get in trouble for admitting about perjury and all this stuff. She admits that the police report made on me, first time ever arrested, and I was arrested and brought to court on the day of the verdict. She admitted it wasn't true and all this stuff, and I'm going, and really? Why has the state of Texas done nothing? Y'all, it's just something really strange where people can do these type of crimes. Lying to have your daughter taken, arrested in front of the jury trial that on a felony that later got dropped, but by then I already lost my daughter. There's something strange going on. No one ever goes to jail, my friends. No one. Even the cop that messed with me, he went to jail. He got out pretty quick, and he got off on everything on good behavior. Indicted 2 felonies. That's Officer Kenneth Troost. I do think I'm caught up in something bigger than we know. When people can commit felony crimes left and right and never even get a slap on their hand, there's something bizarre going on. And if I may say, there are many people think that even our higher ups are involved with this evil corruption. I don't want to say cultish stuff because I can't really accuse the DA Kim Ogg of that and our Attorney General, Ken Paxton of that. But what I will accuse them of is without a doubt covering up major felonies. And not just little, we're not talking, hey, just a little misdemeanor. We're talking violent crimes against me. We're talking massive theft against me. We're talking major police brutality and misconduct and even sexual abuse by an officer, actually multiple officers. And for some odd reason, no one ever gets in trouble, and I'm always treated worse than a felon. And I never get the detective that I've been promised. I can't tell you, my God, at least 100 times now, probably in 9 years. Don't hold me to it. But I mean, multiply. Even the other day, I told, the officer I need a detective. Now, he's being cool, but there's only so much an officer can do. He got it in the DA's office. He agrees it needs to have an investigation. But meanwhile, I'm being terrorized literally almost every minute of the day, if you really want to know. Everything I do, no matter what time of the hour it is, no matter, I could do something and it shows up in seconds on Google or YouTube. And it's without my permission, and that's illegal, but no one does anything about it, not even the FBI. I'm telling you, there is a connection with my CPS case and some of these people. They've either been paid off or they're involved in some kind of really dark thing where they got high up, powerful protection, because evil these days, sadly, is getting a lot of you know what I'm saying. I mean, evil's trying to take over our world. Does it surprise me that my daughter and I got somehow caught up in this? If you knew my family bloodline and all that, it would make more sense. I just wish people would do more research on my case, because I'm so afraid that if I say too much, I'm going to end up murdered. But I have enough evidence to prove that my daughter was 100% taken illegally in the state of Texas by CPS. Not a little, 100%. Yeah, that's pretty bold to say 100%. I'm going to say it again, 100% taken illegally. Funny how I've been saying that off and on really for 9 years and never been sued yet. Even I've begged people to sue me because I'd love to have the chance to take my case back to court. From the day my daughter was taken, she was taken illegally. From the very second it happened in the hospital, because the whole thing was a setup. It was all premeditated by my mom, my stepdad, and their doctor friend who lived in Kingwood, where they lived. Who, by the way, who else lived in Kingwood? The cop I busted and put in jail, Officer Kenneth Truce. You want to talk about how this is all connected? It's far more connected than you think. Have you ever wondered why I've been robbed as much as I have and went homeless literally after having everything, and how nobody ever goes really in jail? No, I mean, they might, like Officer Truth, go in and out. And these two men that got charged with aggravated assault, I think they were out the next morning on a lousy $600 bond or whatever. Have you ever asked yourself how that's possible? They come in our room, they hold weapons at us, one at me, the other one at both Johnny and I. Were sleeping. They terrorized us. We had to run practically, undressed, and neighbors looking and freaking out. And again, handled very unprofessionally as usual. The sheriffs didn't do anything to make sure these people stay in jail. They didn't even want to look for the weapon. I had to do it in the rain, not dressed. Terribly embarrassed. And I'm looking, but I can't legally just go into people's yards. That's what the police could have done. So they got away with hiding the weapons, and they did nothing. Now they're like, well, they might win because they couldn't find the weapons. What a joke. Those weapons were there because they caught them red-handed in the house. So obviously the weapons didn't go anywhere because they said they didn't even have a car there. How'd they get there? None of it makes sense. The whole thing was premeditated. It's scary as hell. Johnny and I had no idea that we went into a house that may be a little on the cultish side too. We didn't know it was a place being rented to a bunch of shady, illegal immigrants that the second they found out I was a reporter, were trying to set up Johnny, and not so much me, but Johnny and try to make it look like we weren't, after they got our rent money, we're not good people or something. When Johnny saved the lady's life that rented the house twice, we both did. And then on top of it, she was so deathly ill. We cooked, we cleaned, we got her to the emergency room. She was hospitalized, and we get out. Next thing we know, all this stuff happened. But conveniently, her and her husband were not home when it happened, when they never, ever left at their age. They rarely ever left, and very rarely her husband. I mean, he's like in his 80s and she's like in her 70s. And while all this criminal stuff was going on, they came back plain stupid. We didn't know. We didn't invite our son here because one of the people was their own son that committed the crime, waving a metal piece all over our body and screaming, "F you, I'm going to F you up." And then the other man was, his name's Jason Delaney, who was the one that held the knife up and made it look like he was going to kill me if I grabbed my cell phone. And conveniently, both those phones on the table were gone when they were major evidence for my federal lawsuit. You want to talk about connection? There's a connection, because here's what you don't know. The mother said that she sent our driver's license information to her son, and she admitted he looked us up. I'm all over Google. You think someone couldn't have paid him off to do that to me when he knew I was in a huge lawsuit suing the big wigs in the police department? It's so obvious it was a setup. Well, I have myself worked up where I've had less than 4 hours sleep, literally, and it's been almost 3 days, because I'm not letting this evil win, and I'm doing too much work by myself. Johnny's not helping. People are saying they're too scared. The neighbor knocked on our door. He's terrorized for trying to help us. He had to change his phone number. He had to change his Facebook. Then they robbed him and came in his house. He said, "Who the hell are y'all?" I said, "That's what I want to know." Because everyone, I've said it over and over on radio and everything else, anytime people try to help us, they get targeted. Yet the state still wants you to believe that I'm crazy and that none of it's real. Even though I have it taped. Even though he begged to not go public, or not so much go public, don't go to the police with this. He's scared. Welcome to my world. Every time someone's like, "Wow, I'll help you," and then they get hacked into on their computer or phone, or weird calls. He said, ever since I gave you my number, I was getting crazy calls all hours, and people scaring my family and all this. And I'm going, please talk to the police. Well, I really do think there's something cultish going on. When you can't even have friends help you without being terrorized, and you have 14 dead people that meant a lot to you in one way or another, there's something really suspicious going on. I need y'all's help. Take note of those names, and take note of, I don't want to give my mom and stepdad's name. I'm too scared. But I think you could figure it out. And then try Googling that stepdad of mine. Try Googling his name and see if you see what I saw. Yeah, it's all making more sense. Remember, they're the ones that took my daughter and got away with taking her illegally from the very second they got her. 100% illegally. No investigation, hearsay, them saying I'm crazy, the hospital taking my daughter, saying they were changing her diaper and never bringing her back and giving her to them with no going to court, no warrant shown, nothing. And they bypassed my ER contact, which was a major witness, and called them. That's illegal. The whole thing was a setup. Their doctor friend in Kingwood, Texas, where they live, is the one that told me to get there. And from the second I got there, they acted like they knew who I was. The whole thing was a setup, and that is illegal. That's called premeditation.